Yeah, I
Every
mean,
cult needs a good snake.
I also promote I have a show, like I do event production. It's like an art show, variety
Yes.
show, and I call it Cult of Art. I basically am like, and that's like a word that my mom is like repulsed by, right? It's like me reclaiming the word because
When
I
you're in
mean,
a cult, you know.
cult actually isn't a bad word. It's a
Right.
neutral word. It
Yeah.
actually just means like a spiritual sect. It's like a sect of religion. It's just not as organized.
Mhm.
Anything that isn't a part of the main organized religions is considered a cult.
Oh yeah.
Literally anything. Like if it's not Islam, Christianity, and I think Buddhism, is those are the top three.
Yeah, I
It's a
think so.
cult.
And Hinduism probably is in there
And Hinduism,
somewhere up there.
which is weird because I'm speaking of Hinduism. I've got good
Shout out
news.
to all the cult bros.
I got
What
good
up,
news.
Novak? Novak's in
Hi.
the chat. And
Yee.
I would just go out on a limb here and like I think of all religions as a cult. It's just some are accepted in the mainstream
Yeah,
and some aren't. I mean, it to
yeah.
one degree to another, all
They are
religions are
all
a
cults.
cult. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all
everything. Yeah, it's
yeah.
all a cult. I mean, even just like self-help shit is technically a cult. A lot of it's a cult. Like Tony Robbins, that
Oh
shit's a
yeah.
cult.
Hard,
Like
yeah.
all that, yeah, that's like all a cult. And so I don't think cult, like the concept of a cult, is technically bad. It's like that's what it's being projected as. It's like people take words and like make them good or evil, but like it's not inherently evil. It's just
Yeah.
it's neutral. It's like technology. Words are also neutral.
Yeah, and I think in today's era, I mean, it's pretty blatant for anybody to see now. I mean, the fact that a word that you would say 10 years ago now doesn't necessarily have the same meaning as that when you say it today. It Words are only as powerful as the meaning that society puts behind them.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
if there's, like in the cult is a perfect example. It's like if there is a negative connotation given to the word cult for whatever reason by society, then it just means a thing versus
Yeah,
the actual definition of cult
yeah.
is
Well, same with like
very neutral.
liberal,
I was
right?
Yeah.
just gonna say
Like
that.
Yeah.
the
Yes.
word liberal, like that doesn't even mean what it used to mean. Like people call themselves liberals, but they're not liberal by any definition of the word.
I
If you look up
was.
what the definition of liberal is, like it means not someone that believes that the government should control any of the shit that you do, which is what most liberals believe. So, or what they're called liberals.
Yeah.
I was reading an article last night after the infrastructure package was passed last night, right? I don't know if you saw this. It
No.
happened literally during the stream, so it's
Yeah.
totally okay. Like, I was watching the stream, and then I was talking to Colin and Larry because I was like, holy shit, this happened at 10 o'clock last night. Or something like that. So 1 o'clock on the East Coast. The infrastructure package was passed in the House and sent to the White House. 1.25 trillion, something
Yeah.
like that, of infrastructure.
An additional $550 billion in spending.
Yes.
Wait, so what is it exactly?
So this is an infrastructure package that is. I don't have a breakdown of it. One of us can find it pretty quick if you want to.
Yeah.
But this is the one that was crafted in the House or crafted in the Senate, passed in the Senate, and moved over to the House. And so this is a traditional infrastructure package, like roads, trains, water pipes, all that type of shit.
Higher taxes.
This is
Only
this
for
is-
some.
Yeah, only for some. Half of it is deficit spending. The other half is done largely through taxes on the higher class. I don't even like that term, but people who have a shitload of money is who
Yeah.
most of the
Okay,
taxes
yeah.
are going to. But
Which means that all of those people that own businesses are
yes,
gonna,
it
yeah,
absolutely will trickle down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm
yeah,
about to get
that's what
fucked on my
people don't
taxes.
understand is that it does it like people are like we need to tax the billionaires like and I used to be like a raging socialist so like I get it like I know the mind frame of like it just makes sense right they have
Right.
all this money like they should be paying more like it's logical but it's like you have to understand that those people are you think that they're not going to figure out how to not pay it
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
if they were really serious about making the rich pay their fair share, they would simplify the tax code so much that like everybody can understand how much everybody pays based off of percentage or however the hell we do it. But they refuse to do that for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Right.
So just a really quick breakdown. What's in this? Roads and bridges, public transportation, passenger and freight rail, electric vehicles, internet access, modernizing the electrical grid, airports, water and wastewater, and paying for it.
So you're the paying for the
I am
5-year
about
spending
them
package.
making a better train system.
Let's hear the pay for
I
it
am
real
actually.
quick.
The pay for it.
I am about
All right.
if they would
So this is
make things
as yeah,
I
that
think
would
that- I
that would
think-
be nice.
I think everyone could use better roads, better trains. I think that that's something we could all agree on. You know,
Yes.
and that's Colin and I talked about this when the infrastructure package first was announced. You know, and we talked about it obviously, and I think it's been months now. And I think even as someone who's fiscally conservative on a government level, the one thing I'm cool with deficit spending on is infrastructure. You're literally investing in the country, and if you think that it will be here for the life of that physical infrastructure, then there doesn't seem to be a downside to spending money on it.
Okay, so listen to this here. This is as reported by the AP, so the Associated Press, paying for it. The 5-year spending package would be paid for by tapping $210 billion in unspent COVID-19 relief aid and $53 billion in unemployment insurance aid some states have halted, along with an array of smaller pots of money like petroleum reserve sales and spectrum auctions for 5G services.
But that's also only half of it, because like we said, the other half, 556 billion roughly, is deficit spending over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And so what we just listed, is only half of the 1.25 trillion that it will be spent over the next 5
And
years.
it's already money that was essentially outside of the standard budget, just it's leftover COVID relief money.
But we needed more at the time.
But we definitely needed more.
The bills we passed at the time were not big enough. They were not big enough, and it was a blight on the country, on this republic and this democracy.
This
that
democracy.
we would allow people to be left behind, even though we have some $210 billion left over on a federal level
Oh my
that
God.
we can reallocate somewhere else. And this is not the first time that we've done this. After we have already had multiple states, we talked about this last episode, multiple states do lotteries. We had a COVID lottery in our own state of if you were vaccinated, you were eligible for winning 4 prizes of $250,000 and 1 prize of $1 million. That was all leftover COVID money. But we needed more.
Nice.
But we need more.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
because if we don't have 100% vaccination, then we're doing it wrong. We need to put more money behind it.
Yeah.
I
I don't remember why we started talking
Are
about
we?
this.
I feel like our vax numbers are high.
They
That's
are
why
now.
I'm like I don't understand what more people want. It's like you want really 100%. Like that's impossible. You can't make every single person do it. Like
yeah, and
This
it,
is not
now
wouldn't stop there.
And now the federal mandate has an actual date, right, of
Yeah.
January 4th. The OSHA regulations have apparently been lined out by the federal government.
It's only 400 some pages long, too.
Only 400 some pages. So if you work for a company that has 100 or more employees, you are now required to get vaccinated before January 4th or be tested at least once a week. And the last time it was talked about, it seems as though it will be left up to the businesses to decide whether or not you as an employee will have to pay for the test or the businesses will take on the cost of the test, because the federal government is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know that the businesses are just gonna make it so that you have to be vaccinated because they're gonna say, "Fuck that, we're not paying for tests."
Yeah.
seen
And,
it
and
very-
anybody that's on the line is just going to go down to 99 employees.
And that's my biggest concern, right? Is how many groups of 4 and 5 employees are going to have their hours cut, or they're going to be laid off, or they're going to be something just to get under the cap, or just straight out fired, to get under the cap of 100 people. I've seen very few companies, mostly firearms companies. That's a lot of like what my social media is personally, but only a few companies come out and say we're not going to require vaccination or testing for our employees. And we saw
I think what people don't understand is that for every type of business, right?
every
It's
business
and
with over 100 employees.
good luck with like things like nightclubs, strip clubs. You're gonna get every fucking stripper to get vaccinated. You can't even get those people to show up to work on time. Like, what are you, like this is what I mean. Like, because I used to manage a strip club. That's the shit. So we're just not gonna have any entertainment, or entertainment businesses are gonna fucking be working. They're gonna be like very. Like they're already having trouble. So in Boston, there's a vaccine mandate here. Like, and a bunch of businesses have them. It's not a vaccine mandate federally. Yeah. So a lot of venues. It's mostly venues. It's a private business decision, and like because it's Boston, everyone like they are like we want to seem like we care. Even it's just for show.
Yeah.
But all the venues
Gotta be woke,
now
man.
do it. Yeah, if you're not woke, like people
What
ain't
is
about
it?
it. People
You ain't real.
Yeah, so they ended up they have to show your vaccine card, or a 72-hour test is what most places do. Some places say only vaccine, you have to be vaccinated, but like those are very rare. There's not many of those because people realize that that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But most places say that you have to be vaccinated or 72-hour test to go to an event. All employees have to be vaccinated though, and this is why they're all short fucking staffed and they can't get staff. And they just post all the time like, we can't find workers, and it's like, because you literally refuse to hire people due to the fact that they're not vaccinated. Like people that are able-bodied, people that have probably had COVID, multiple, or have probably had COVID, that like are probably less likely to get severely ill or get sick than people that could be vaccinated and never had COVID. Like,
Right.
but you're refusing to let them work just because they're not getting vaccinated. That's stupid. Like
Our state
Oh, yeah.
mandates. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that seems like it's not sustainable. Like eventually these businesses are going to realize that like you can't, how are they going to keep up with that? You're not going to
Right.
be able to hire people.
Our state mandate just went into effect 2 weeks ago, right before
Yeah.
we did the last episode. And on the way here, I was listening to NPR, as I do right on the way here.
So self-abusive.
And you got to do it. You got to know what the opposition is talking
That's
about
right.
if you want to be real. So I was listening to NPR. To their credit, they had Brandy Cruz, who is a local Fox News reporter. So to their own credit, they did have a Fox News reporter on the live stream that they were doing.
Ooh.
And not Brandy Cruz was talking about how all these police officers who had just quit and all the firemen who had just quit. What the fuck am I trying to say?
Firefighters
Thank
and
you,
paramedics
firefighters.
and stuff that
Jesus
just
Christ.
yeah.
Yeah, they just quit. I don't know.
Like firemen?
Fire something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so all the firemen that just quit. Well, they're not going to have such a good time because it's not going to be so easy for them to find a job, because now there are going to be all these other businesses that are requiring vaccinations, and they're going to regret it, and maybe they should have just got vaccinated in the first place. Which
tyranny.
just seems like a not healthy outlook to have of, well, if you don't, it's
It's also not empathetic.
choice.
Like people
Oh, God,
on like
no.
the left, I thought pride themselves on being empathetic, and on the far left, like that's why I've always kind of leaned left,
Right.
is because there is an aspect of their policies that comes from a place of empathy, right? Like you're supposed to
Yes.
care about the poor people and everything, but like all of a sudden they're like, well, we don't give a fuck about those poor people.
Yeah.
We don't give a fuck
Right.
if they're unemployed, those people that aren't getting vaccinated. Like it's just so elitist, and
Oh, yeah.
it's not coming from a place of empathy. It's not, you're a shit person. Anyone that thinks like that is a shit person. And like in my opinion, I think that they are like horrible people, regardless of if you're vaccinated or not. If you're vaccinated, you shouldn't care if other people aren't, because you're protected. And like
Right.
you shouldn't want to impose that shit on other people.
Yeah.
It just says a lot about your character to feel that way, in my
Right.
opinion. That's what I think. I think that like anyone that feels that way is,
An authoritarian.
yeah, and
Yep.
well, and
We can
I'm
have
like,
sympathy
there's
for
so
you
much
if
to-
you agree with us. And if you
Right,
don't agree with
right.
us, you can burn in the fire.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat.